In this episode, we're going to cover what decisions need to be made to determine if a company is ready to get certified. Why do customers assess?
So quite simply, it's really the larger organizations that need to adhere to regulatory or compliance mandates. So if you're working with an organization like a bank or a financial services company, there are a number of regulations that control the way that bank operates. The same applies to healthcare or defense, manufacturing, and so the assessment takes place because by working with a third party, that company that is bound by the regulations needs to be able to show to their regulators that they are adhering to those practices, even if they engage a third party.
Who do they assess?
So they want to, organizations should really be assessing anyone that extends their risk boundary beyond their own organization. So let's talk about this in real terms. So let's say I work for a big bank, and my big bank has an initiative that needs to speed up a particular process. So someone within the bank will start a project, and that project will say, okay, what can we do internally, and then what do we have to outsource or get external suppliers to provide us to meet those business objectives. So during that process, there is a lot of dependency on that third party to meet the business objective. And what is happening and what's taking place is that the risk that third party introduces is actually what is being assessed.
What does being assessed mean?
That's a great question. So in our contracts with our customers, you have a startup. You're promising to your enterprise that you will, for example, keep your data or keep their data secure, manage it in a secure manner. That you may have some availability type language. So our system or our solution will be up and available like 99.99% of the time. You may be saying in your contracts that you don't sell their personally identifiable information to third parties. Additionally, you might have some processes that your platform or your service provides in that black box theory. And so you may have a particular data integrity type responsibility. So what the organization's looking for is ways for you to demonstrate your obligations to them. Like if you're saying that you're going to keep this data secure, really I want to know how it's going to be secure. If it's going to be available, how will it be available? So what's being assessed really comes down to the promises that are made to those enterprises and how the startup intends to meet those objectives or meet those obligations.
Does being certified shorten the sales cycle?
That's a great question. So let's talk about what being certified means. Today, when a startup fills in that assessment, they really are doing it as a self-assessment. So they're really providing their own perspective on their posture. So if someone says, Brian, how well are you eating? You're pretty much going to say, I'm eating really well, but there might be some leftover, hamburgers or whatever underneath your desk. But by being certified, what you're doing is you're demonstrating to an independent third party that you perform certain processes, that you have certain protocols in place, certain technologies in place. And so being certified actually enables the assessing organization to outsource a component of that assessment process. So does it shorten the sales cycle? Absolutely, because it's one less thing or a number of less things that the assessing organization needs to then verify.
What certifications should we consider?
That's a really great question. So I know the name of this school is the SOC 2 school. SOC 2 is a certification That's actually overseen by the AICPA, which is the American Institute of Chartered Professional Accountants. But there are a number of other certifying organizations or bodies like the ISO, which is the International Standards Organization. There are other certifications like PCI, which is focused on payment card industry, focused on credit cards, so it's very fixated on the payment card industries. Then there's bodies like High Trust. So there are a number of different certifying bodies. I think it should be imperative or really important for a company to really understand what is important to their customers, and then choose the certifying body that that would meet those requirements. So, for example, if the company that you want to work with is predominantly in the US, and could be predominantly in the US, let's just take that, then having something like a SOC is pretty adequate. But if your customer's headquarters are in Europe, let's say, it may be better for you to get the ISO certification, because the ISO is international. If your customers are typically healthcare, then you may want to consider something like a High Trust certification. So it really comes down to knowing who your customer is, what it is you promise you say that you would do for them, and what it is they recognize or don't recognize.
Is there anything else that we need to know?
Yeah, so being certified or achieving these certifications is not a one-time effort. It's really the start of a program that is ongoing. So if your organization isn't ready to commit the time, the energy, the resources into achieving and then maintaining those certifications, really they should stay away from it. There are definitely other ways that you can demonstrate your posture. Being certified probably isn't right for you.
Thank you, Vikas. That's some great information. And for those of you watching, please let us know what you think. Let us know any comments or questions that you have. Hit that like button, subscribe, turn on the little notification icon, and see you guys next episode.